Might seem like a little bit overkill, but I have done freestanding lace projects before where I did not have enough stabilizer, and as it really started getting the density of the lace design, it started pulling away, and then again, it just ruins your design. So I like to be safe rather than sorry. So it is kind of a lot of stabilizer, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do multiple designs at one time on here and get the most out of this that I can. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to head over to the sewing machine. I'm going to pick a couple of the designs, and I was going to try to see if I could make something out of the freestanding lace designs that we included in your Q4 club kit. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, get some thread picked out. I've got my 2 layers on here, along as well as my topping on here, and then we'll head over to the sewing machine and get started. Okay, so we are here at the computer, and I ended up choosing just the spinning ribbons freestanding lace design. Again, this was included in your Elevate Club box if you did the embroidery box as well. And I'm just gonna move this other thing out of the way here real quick. And then I just picked kind of like a royal blue um, thread to start with because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to make with these yet. So I'm just going to make a few of them and then see if we can come up with a fun project or how to use them. All right. So, and again, it's important when you're doing freestanding lace, you want your bobbin thread to be the same color as your top thread. So I went ahead and made sure that was done. And I think that's it. So hopefully, let's get started. And I kind of got it as close to the edge as possible there so I can get as many designs in this one hoop as I can. So we'll see how well this works out. It always looks interesting when it first starts. I have a little seam here. Oh, put that over there. So on that one topper, it wasn't quite wide enough, so it's kind of seamed there. So I just want to make sure it doesn't catch on my foot. And now it should be good to go. But I really enjoy doing freestanding lace. I don't know how many of you have done it before. It's so fun. It's such a perfect thing to make like gifts, even if you're just doing the design on its own. But it's also fun to, I've done a few where I've taken it and then attached it to a quilt project like a wall hanging, or you could even do, I suppose, a table topper or a door hanger or something fun. Just figuring out different ways to use them once they're made. But also just a nice way to kind of get into embroidery too, getting the most out of your machine and being able to get creative with your projects. So we're just going to let this stitch on out and do a few videoing with it throughout, and then we'll take a look at it when it's all done. So I got one done, and I am working on my second one. I'm going to do 2, I think, in a dark blue, and then I'm going to do 2 in a different color, and that way I've got 4 to play around with. And then if I have enough room, I might do the earrings in the middle and have those as well in case I want to use them for something. And I think that'll get a good use out of this entire hoop of being able to use all that stabilizer. So stay tuned. Okay, so these are our two that we just got done. I think they look really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change out my thread and my bobbin color, and then I'm going to do two more and keep going. All right. So the second one's almost done being stitched out. I used a variegated thread. I don't know if you can see it very well on that angle, but I'll show you a close-up as soon as it's done. It's like a red and a pink variegated thread. So anyways, it is stitching along just nicely. So I'm excited to get these out, and then we'll soak them in some water and get the stabilizer off and talk about different ways that they can be used. Okay, so these are the finished designs. So I've got 4 of those and then 2 of the earrings. They look pretty good. I like that variegated thread a lot. So let's get this out of here. And I still had space. I suppose if I wanted to do a little bit more, I had a little bit of space up here and up here. But I think we're just going to start with this. And I'm going to go get this stabilizer taken off. And let me grab some scissors real quick. And what I like to do, just so I'm not, I guess I could just use my rotary cutter, but get this out of the way. That way I'm not obviously putting all of this in the water, but I'm just going to cut these out. Use some scissors, or obviously I'm just going to, that way I'm not trying to get all this extra stabilizer in the sink and all that goofy stuff. I'm just going to carefully, so I don't cut my design, get these cut out of here. And then we'll go do something fun with them. I'll move them up a bit more too before I go stick them in the sink or some water. Okay. And the rest of that can just get thrown away. Ooh, got a little close there. Get a little wild with this thing. Okay. So all that can go in the garbage. And then here's our designs. I'm going to go soak them, get the stabilizer off of them, and then we'll talk about some, I don't know, something fun to do with them. Alrighty, so the stabilizer is all off of these. So I'm just going to let them lay flat to dry for a little bit, and then we'll mess around with them as they're still kind of wet. And let them dry. And sometimes after they dry, or maybe while they're drying, if you feel like they're still kind of sticky or still have a little bit of stabilizer in them, you could just kind of go rinse them more. Sometimes it's not bad to leave a little bit in it because it makes it a little stiffer, depending on what kind of project you're going to do with them. I also have, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it right, but it's called Tarot Magic. So this is like a liquid stabilizer, and sometimes that works really good too if you're going to use these as like maybe like little decorative hanging ornaments or something like that. Or I'll show you a picture I did where I made one and turned it into like a brooch that you could wear on your jacket. And this is just a liquid stabilizer that you can spray on it, and it just helps keep things a little bit stiffer. So you just spray this on, kind of soak it, and then let it dry. and it will make the, it just kind of makes it kind of stiffer for standing out and stuff. So we're just going to let those dry though for a minute or two, and then we'll kind of talk about ideas that you can do with them. All right, so I have all sorts of things here because I just wanted to talk about different ways that you could use the designs that you came up with. So these are the ones that I did. They're all dry now. So they're, you know, and they're kind of stiff on their own, so it's nice. Gives you something, nice and stable to kind of play around with. But I hadn't decided quite what I was going to do with them yet. But I thought, well, let's just talk about ways that you could do with them. So again, I did a wall hanging early on, just kind of messing around with the designs and used the earrings as the leaves. So I just kind of, stitched them back there and then added some bling to them and a little button and made a cute wall hanging. But I was thinking these would be really cute just on a block too, if you wanted to do kind of give it some dimension, almost like you're doing applique and use it as like kind of like an applique and then put something there to hold it or just stitch it down and have it on your block if you wanted to use it that way. Um, I also showed a picture of me doing it as a brooch. So I just, you can buy all sorts of things at Hobby Lobby or Walmart or whatever and make a really pretty like brooch and put a pin on the back of it and have it for your jacket or something like that. And that's kind of nice because you can change out the color for the different seasons. Or put a button in the middle of it. I have all sorts of different things you can mess around with it, or one of our buttons that we got in our new box. But some different ways you can use it. I thought, oh, you could almost too just take like an old, or like I have a bunch of doilies, you could stitch this onto a doily and kind of spruce it up a little bit. That might be fun. Let's see, you could do something on a pillow, kind of do like an applique design on a pillow, I thought might be kind of fun. Um, that would be kind of cute just to kind of spruce up a project. Maybe you already have projects done, like have a pillow or something, and you're like, it's kind of plain. Let's do a couple of those designs and do something fun with them. Or a hat pin. This was a freestanding lace design. It's not one of ours. It's one I did a while ago. But I just made it into kind of like a hat pin. But I suppose I could do the same thing with, if you have some hats, you could use them as a hat pin. That's a great idea. And then I thought it would be fun. You could try to do more dimensional thing. I just have one of those battery operated tea lights, but I thought I could, just add a couple secure stitches like this and make it so that it's kind of like I don't know, like a little, and then have the little tea light on the inside. So obviously I don't have them stitched together now, but anyways, get the idea, hopefully. I thought that might be kind of a cute little idea, and you could just put it down over something and have your little tea light there and add a little something to make that look nicer. I don't know. There's lots of different ideas. Putting it on your jacket, putting it on the back of your jeans, so many different things. So these are just some of the ideas that I came up with. I would love to see what you guys come up with. Please post your pictures and how you use it. There's again so many different ways, and I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with these ones that we did today. So I'm going to go do that, and I will send you a picture or tag a picture on the end of this video of what I end up doing with it. But anyways, let's go have some fun. All right, so let's put together a little project. I was going to just do something kind of quick, and I don't know if you've ever used this before, but this is a fusible like webbing material, and it's pre-printed with 2-inch squares on it. And I have been making a point to do a better job at saving all of my scrap pieces of material. So when I'm done, I've been trying to like either cut them into 2-inch or 2.5-inch squares and just save them. And then this project is brilliant because it makes piecing so fast. They come out so accurate. This is one that I already did, and you can get it pre-printed. So this is a 2-inch. I think they have a 2.5-inch and a 3-inch. Um, So it's a great way to use like your extra fabric, and it just makes quick little pieced blocks. So I already did two. I'm going to do two more. And all I'm doing is, and again, this has got a fusible on one side, so you want to make sure that that is up. The other day I did it and I put all my squares on here and ironed it and literally ironed this to my mat. So don't do that. So it's got kind of like a little texture on it on the one side, and that's the side that's fusible. And then I'm just going to take my little squares and I'm just um, going to line them up in there, and they're just going to be random. I'm not doing anything um, special as far as a design or anything. These are just a random square, all similar, sort of similar colors. Try to keep it within a similar color scheme. They're all kind of like greens, and I think there's a little bit of blues, but mostly like greens. Cute little pack of squares here. So I'm just going to start putting them on here, and then we're just going to press it, and then we're going to go over to the sewing machine and sew it all together. I'll show you how we do that, and it comes together so fast. Again, it just makes these great fast little squares, and they piece together really easy. I really like it, and then they're great for applique because then you can do like some fun little applique projects on top. So I'll have to get the name of the company. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but I think it's watercolor quilts is what they call them, and they give you like a whole kit you can buy too that has this fusible webbing, and then they also have like pre-cut appliques for like an entire like quilt project. So it's a lot of fun if you've never done them before or looked at them before. Fun little company. Let's see. What other colors have I not got over here? Let's try that one. Let's do this one. And I'm just kind of like randomly putting them on here. And actually, let's do this one. This one's kind of cute. Do that one right up there. Okay, so once they're laid on there, you're just going to press it and fuse them down. Um, and I try to get them on there, obviously, as straight as possible. You know, the straighter that you get them on there and fused on there, the straighter it's going to quilt together. But it's as easy as that. So, just gonna make sure they're nice and fused on there. And I just cut these down to the size I wanted. So it actually comes in like a big, like printed sheet. And then you just cut down to the size of the blocks that you want. So once it's on there, so we're going to go to the sewing machine. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold it right along those blue lines. And I'm just going to sew down. I'm going to piece that down, come and kind of press it open and do the other way. And then you have your completed block. So let's go over to the sewing machine and do the first section. So what we're going to do is just fold this, and it kind of folds on itself already. So I just kind of want to make sure that I've got that guideline that's pre-printed there. I'm going to fold this down and just stitch out my 1/4 inch seam allowance on that. I'm going to fold and do the next one. And just kind of making sure that it's as close as possible to that printed line. Going to want to keep everything nice and straight. Okay, that's what it's going to look like right now. So I'm just going to kind of press it a little bit so that these are going to one side or the other. And then we're going to come back and we're going to sew that like that. So let me get this other one done. And then we'll go press these two and then come back and sew the other way. So it does add a little bit of thickness to your project, like a little bit of rigidity to it. which I don't mind, especially if you're doing like a wall hanging or doing some like and you're going to be putting like applique or something on it. It just gives it like that extra little stability in there. But it does make piecing these little squares so fast, and you're not trying to line up all those little, points in the middle. Kind of does it for you. Anyways, let me get that on there. And last one here. All right, so I'm going to go to press these seams and I'll come back and sew with them the other way. This is what it looks like now. The back, I just press the seams going to one direction. That's what it looks like on the front. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to fold it the other way and do our 1/4 inch down this other line. So what I really like with these is when you're doing like a bigger block, so that's kind of fun to do like a bigger project. I'll show you something I pieced together with just a little bit of a bigger format, um, and it comes together so fast. And again, a great way to use up all your scrap pieces of fabric. If you're like me and you hate throwing fabric away, um, this is a great way to use it up. I find I was doing it the other day and I thought, you know what? When I get done with a project and I have those scraps, I just right then and there, instead of throwing them to the side and being like, oh, I'll get to them later, um, I just went ahead and grabbed my ruler and just started cutting 2-inch squares out. And that way it's just done. I have a little box that has all my squares in them and they're ready to go anytime I want to put a project together. So not pressed, but look at how perfect those points are together, this where they join. That's how fast it is. So I love it. These things are, it's great. A great way, again, to use your fabric, leftover fabric. Put on there. And last one. So, up there. Perfect. Lay that down. All right, let's go press them. And then I'm going to square them up, see what they look like. That's that one all done too. Super cute. Okay, so while those are pressing, I thought I would show you, this is what I put together so far. So this is actually a full kit that you can buy, and they give you all the pre-cut squares for it. And then an applique, and this was a water lily. So I have some cutout flowers of like a water lily that you put on here. But then this was all done with that same pre-printed fusible. So I'll get all those squares pieced together, and this one together so incredibly fast and so accurate when it was done. So for this one, the idea was this was going to be like a light colored scene with the dark on the edges, and then I have some applique to fill in right there. I just haven't gotten that far yet. But anyways, that's what turned me on to that fusible um, product, and I love it for all these little square pieces of fabric for projects. So anyways, so these are the squares. I just press them, trimmed them, squared them up, and there we go. So what are we going to do next? Those come together super fast. So I was thinking these would be cute on here. So maybe I'll do something like this. And then I have a jelly roll of a bunch of fabric too that's kind of similar. So I thought maybe I'll do some sashing in between the 4 blocks and stitch them together. And then we'll put that on it, and then we'll probably put some kind of like little decorative in the middle too. I don't know what yet. And then we'll do a um, frame or border around it. And then maybe we'll quilt it with some of the new embroidery designs that are part of our Q4 release and make just a little, I don't know, we'll call it something. It'll be some sort of little like a door hanger, wall hanger thing. Anyways, it'll be cute. So what I'll do, kind of just making it up on the fly, I'm going to sash these together or make a border anyways and kind of sash those together. And then I have a whole bunch of extra of this similar kind of color scheme of a jelly roll. So I'll maybe do a couple like frames around the outside of it. And then we'll do some quilting on it and add our little freestanding lace flowers and see what it looks like when it's all done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this piece together. All right, just a little in-process sneak peek. So I went ahead and add the sashing. It's a little large, but I just did the jelly roll strips, so I didn't cut them down or anything. I just sewed them in there. Again, this is just kind of like a fast, quick, easy little project you can do. So I'm going to now pick a fabric and I'm just going to go ahead and get a frame on it. And then we will move on to getting these well, no. Then we're going to do the quilting on the background and then we'll add those next. So I'm going to get the frame added onto it or the border. And then I'll show you what it looks like after that. Okay, so in my typical fashion, I got started and then I started getting all creative while I was doing this. So I went ahead to put the border on. And then as I was going down to put the last border on, I was like, why don't I just make that a bigger part and that can be part of like just the hanging panel. It'll kind of all flow into each other. And then kind of similar to the other project I did where I used the jean pocket to kind of make a little pocket. I took that same jean that I've just been cutting on now for a while and cut out a leg and just made another pocket. And I think I'm going to put it like right in the center here. And then I thought about adding a little lace to the top. And then of course I can always do like a flower down here and then do these flowers or something like that up there. And if we wanted, we could quilt like a little saying on it or something like that, or just have it kind of be like a little wall hanging like that. It's a little pocket you could put stuff in. So that's where I ended up now. So anyways, it goes by really fast because I'm just kind of building it as I go and making it up as I go. So those, again, those little blocks were so easy to come together, added some sashing, was just going to add a border, just made this longer piece and then just sewed up a little pocket out of the leg of my jeans. And I'm going to go ahead and add some little trim lace to that. And then we'll start doing some of the quilting on it and again adding some of this other stuff. So that's where I ended up. Just was giving you kind of a little peek at where I'm at right now. So I'm going to trying to decide. I think I'll do the quilting before I install the pocket, and that way I can just have like this flow of quilting. So I think I'll do one big maybe design up here and then maybe one of the other like edge to edge designs down here. And then we'll do the other stuff on top of it. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now. Okay. All right. So I've got it over here at my embroidery machine. I had just like a touch of that like peachy color in it. So I thought that might be cute for the background for the quilting. So I'm going to do that. Let me get this threaded here real quick. Oops. Okay. And I've already got it placed and I ended up picking just one, I got tangled in my thread. I just ended up picking one of the designs in our Q4 box.
So this is the one I chose. Let me see if I can show you on the camera right here. I chose that one to be in the middle up here because I'm going to use those freestanding lace flowers. So I didn't want like a really intense design going on there because I'm going to be covering part of it up anyways. So I just went with this one and hopefully should stitch out okay. I think it will. So let's go. Let's get started and see. It's only a 3-minute design, so it should go pretty fast here. It shows up pretty nice. And it was just under 10 inches, and this little square that I put together with these 4 squares is about 10 inches. So from here to here is 10 inches, and then 10 inches the other way. So about just under 9 will do it. And that'll just give it some quilting in the background without it being too busy. I was just deciding if I should raise my foot just a little bit because of all of the piece squares. Looked like it was catching there a little bit on one of them. This is one of my favorite designs on our new quarter 4 collection. This is, I think it's part of the spinning ribbons. And to me, it's just kind of like an overall edge to edge, like leaf design. And so I really like it. It's a nice background design, um, especially if you aren't really looking for, something to stand out as like your main quilting. It's just a nice, pretty design. It's perfect for fall, but I think it'd be great for summer, spring too. Um, it's just kind of like this little meandering leaf. And so I really like it. I've used it a couple times now. So I'm using it on that bottom portion where I'm going to put the pocket, just so I have some quilting in the background. And I did just a little pop of like maroon color, just so it stands out a little bit, kind of pulls to, I think I just have this color a little bit in the top part. So I was just kind of pulling it in a little bit more. So anyways, it is almost done. It's still a 3-minute file, so it goes really fast. And I think it fills the space nicely. And I really like it. I think it's a nice design. And it's done. That was quick. All right, let's go take a look at this. See what else we might want to do. Get it out of here. All right. So, and then on the top part, I just picked kind of more of a, I don't know, it's kind of like a peachy color. And I did the exact same design that the freestanding lace flowers are made out of, but it's just a larger embroidery design and just kind of did it in the background to fill that space as well. And again, because I'm putting the freestanding lace on it, I didn't want it to spend, a lot of time on color and stuff and making the embroidery design stand out because the freestanding lace is going to be standing out. So let's go take a look. All right, here's what I came up with. So I went ahead and put the little pocket on there with a little bit of lace and did the freestanding lace here. And then I had like a little flower I added to it. So it's going to be a little pocket. And then you can see some of the quilting in the background there. And then, of course, I added some more lace. I got on my little lace kick. So I added some lace there. And then you can see the quilting, hopefully, in the background of what I did there with embroidery. And then another little freestanding lace flower there. So I'm going to bind it. And I have more flowers if I want to add them in different places. I hadn't decided yet, but I'm going to go ahead and get it binded and then call it good. I might, I was trying to decide what I wanted to use this for, but I thought it'd be cute, like, in a laundry room or whatever, you can put little, if you use the little clippy things, I was going to maybe make it and put them in there. You could store it and do something cute like that. So anyways, that is one way to use the freestanding lace. Just make a quilt project and add them to it. So I'm going to get it, like I said, I'm going to get it binded and then I'll just share some pictures of the finished project. But I'm going to leave it at that for now and then save my other ones that I did for maybe another project I can add them to later or something like that. It's kind of nice too when you are doing and you have like a little bit of a bigger hoop to do a couple at one time and then you can save them for later. So just so you always have them in case you have that project that pops up and you're like, oh, that'd be perfect for that. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the different ideas. And again, we would love to see them, post them on Wesley by me, and share them with us. It's just fun to see all the creative things that people come up with. So we'll see you soon. Bye.
Such a great project. Thank you so much for sharing that, Melissa. I know that the fusible material, I'll get the name of that for you before we're done here, Joey. We are going to give away another one of our freestanding lace class kits as our giveaway today. So make sure to type embroidery into your hashtag embroidery, and you will be entered into our giveaway here at the end of our live. We do have one more class for you. This is a little bit shorter, but this is using the class kit and the material that was in the class kit to go ahead and create some ornaments. So let's go ahead and check that one out.
Hey, I'm Jess with So Steady, and I'm here to talk to you today about my freestanding lace projects. I'll be making some earrings as well as an ornament, and these are just some of the ideas that we can do with these designs. We introduced freestanding lace designs as part of our fall 2025 Elevate Box Club. So if you are an Embroidelee Box Club member or a Get It All Box Club member, you should have these designs in your box. If not, don't worry, we do have them available separately in our freestanding lace class kit. And what I'll do today is I'll cover the basics of stitching freestanding lace and give you some ideas on what you can do with the designs. Don't let this limit your creativity. We are hoping the sky's the limit. So we would love to see what you guys do with these designs as you stitch them out. So join me and we'll get stitching.
All right, so I am going to get my hoop ready to stitch the snowflake design. I've got my water-soluble stabilizer here. I'm going to trim it to exceed the hoop space by a little bit. That way there's plenty of tension within the hoop as the design is stitching. The manufacturer of the stabilizer does recommend doing multiple sheets as you stitch lace designs. I don't always use 2 sheets for smaller things like the earrings. I tend to do a single sheet because I feel they're small enough to not be heavily impacted by saving the extra stabilizer. For the snowflake design, I will do the recommended 2 sheets just to give it some good rigidity and starchiness, because if this is going to be hanging on somewhere, I don't want it to be so delicate that it can't withstand a little bit of pressure or, wind adjustments or anything like that. So I'm going to trim this out and then get it hooped in. As the stabilizer gets hooped, it'll be important to make sure it's hooped pretty securely. Since we're not hooping any fabric here, there's no risk of hoop burn, and you actually do want the stabilizer to be in there a little bit more on the tight side. Lace designs have more layers of stitching than our traditional embroidery designs do, so the registration is a little bit different. There's underlayment and then there's the satin stitch on top. You want everything to line up well, otherwise the design may not come out as intended. When it's hooped well, when you tap it, you should hear a little bit of a sound, kind of like a drum, and then you know you're ready to go. So I'll put this on my machine, I'll get our design punched up, and we'll start stitching. All right, I've got my hoop all set up on my machine. I'm using a 4x4-inch hoop. With lace designs, you want to use the smallest hoop you can to help provide good, consistent tension as it stitches in all directions. I've got the speed on my machine slowed down just to help improve performance. If you rush through, it can kind of create issues with the registration of the various layers. So slower is better. Now I've got a lightweight polyester thread in here right now. It's a 40 weight. You can use other types of thread. Rayon is a fine choice. It's a bit more delicate though. The cotton thread you can also use, however, it won't have the same sheen as a poly or a rayon will. So experiment with different thread types and colors as you decide to get creative with stitching these designs. And now we'll go ahead and get this all started up.
All right, I have pulled my design off of the machine. It's all stitched out. So I'm just gonna take it out of the hoop and I'm gonna cut away the extra stabilizer. What I have heard is that saving the extra stabilizer, you can either try patching it up to use it again. I haven't done it yet, so don't take my word for it. But you can also use it and dissolve it in water to restart any of your designs, which I thought was kind of cool. I think the ornaments could easily be starched well enough to be molded to have a kind of a 3D effect. So that is something certainly to keep in mind. Don't feel like you have to waste all this stabilizer. You can find another use for it. I am trying to cut away most of it because it is water soluble, so you don't really want it hanging around. I've got a bowl of warm water next to me that I'm to dissolve whatever I'm not cutting away. And once that all dissolves, I'll lay it flat, dry it out. Some folks do recommend pressing it with very low heat with a protective thing just to get it truly flat. I will probably just lay my cool iron on top just to help it dry out and flatten out nicely. But once that's all cleaned up and dissolved, we'll work on making it into a fun ornament. I did the same process on these earrings as I did on the snowflake, which is still drying. I did 2 up in the hoop and I did only use a single sheet of the stabilizer. I felt like it just wasn't necessary to use a secondary sheet. Again, at your discretion. If you feel like you need it, go for it. I'm just going to trim these out. I'm going to get the stabilizer washed out and then we'll work on adding some hooks and little embellishments to make these fun earrings. All right, now that my earring lace is all dry, I am going to start assembling earrings. I've got a couple of earring hooks here. I've got a couple of jump rings and then some wire and a few different types of beads just to embellish them a little bit. Before I started working for So Steady, I actually worked for a jewelry manufacturing company. So when Stacy said we should do freestanding lace, I immediately thought, let's do some earrings. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything assembled. What I like to do is I go through my beads and I kind of stage the little embellishment wire with the beads that I want before I start assembling. That way I feel like I'm a little bit more ready to go. All right, so I'm just going to open up my earring hook, get my lace design on there, and then I'm going to bend the wire that I've got my beads on so I can hook it together with my jump ring. I want it to kind of hang off the earring hook with the lace nicely, which is why I use the extra jump ring. Earrings, I think, especially lace, should have kind of a nice flexible flow to them, more of a natural, not too rigid, which is kind of why I used only the 1 sheet of stabilizer when I originally stitched them out. I think the more movement they have, the more natural they feel and the more comfortable they are to wear. All right. Now that I've got my jump ring secured to my beads, go ahead and put it on the earring hook. Close it up as well as I can to make sure it's all gonna stay secure. And that is our first earring done. What's kind of nice about these hooks is they're flexible enough when you wear it. If it twists the wrong way, you can just twist the hook. That way it hangs and shows in the direction that you want it to. So I'll do the same thing on the other one. Got a mixture of metal beads, glass beads, and some Swarovski crystal on these. I tried to kind of keep with a consistent pink kind of coloration, since that's the color of the thread I use to stitch the lace. What I kind of like about making something like earrings with the lace is they make great gifts. If you know anybody that wears jewelry, that appreciates handmade items, it's kind of a nice way to, you can personalize them a little bit, like with the beads, the thread color, and they are super lightweight, easy, fun things to share with others. All right, there we have it. We have our earrings done, nice and easy. Now we'll move on to our ornament design. All right. For our ornaments, I've got our snowflake design all stitched out. Snowflakes can be very seasonally fun. You could use them in all kinds of different projects, not just ornaments. I think that would be great as an embellishment on some napkin holders. They could go on a variety of quilted projects. There's a big thing going around now about quilted postcards. It'd be really, I think, super fun to consider adding one of these to a greeting card or a postcard if you are into quilting postcards. So what I've got here, I've got a little piece of craft wire that I'm going to use as the way to hang this. And then I do have a few more embellishments just to add a little extra sparkle, just to kind of keep it a little bit more fun and unique. So I am just going to loop my craft wire through. I'm going to twist the ends together, keep it all nice and easy to hang. All right. Now, what I'll do is I will add a few embellishments. Got the tiniest little jump rings here that I could find because I don't want them to be the star of the show. I'm going to add a few little fun, shiny little beaded elements and just kind of add them in here wherever I think they will add a nice little extra something. It's kind of the cool thing about lace is you've got, some open space to work with. It doesn't have to be a, you know, a standalone thing. Mix it up, you know, add extra elements, make it unique. All right. I do think the lace would also go great on a seasonal garland. Hang it maybe from your mantle or in an entryway, something if you know, if you like to decorate for the season, add a little seasonal touch to your craft room, your kitchen, wherever you want to see a little extra pop of color. These rings are so tiny, they are a little squirrely. All right. Well, I'm just going to add a few just to add a little something to catch the light. But now it is ready to be hung from a tree or a fireplace or anywhere you think you want to add a little extra something. Thanks for joining me today to cover the freestanding lace projects that I did. Hopefully these inspired you to do great things with your freestanding lace. At So Steady, our mission is always to elevate your creativity. So please share with us what you're doing, what you think of the designs. Follow us on Wesley by Me, where we have a community that shares and gives ideas to each other and helps inspire your sewing and quilting further. Until next time, happy sewing.
Oh, thank you so much, Jess. That was such a fun project. And I love that you can do so many different things with this freestanding lace. Like that you can turn this into earrings, you can use it to decorate your quilt projects. Obviously, this could be, just something that you've got that kind of inspires and decorates, a space. So we're super excited to start incorporating more of these that are inspired by our Wesley design templates into our embroidery boxes. So this is not the end all be all of our freestanding lace experience. And I love the idea of just saying getting into some 3D types of designs and that sort of thing, because I think we have so much possibility for that. So one question came through earlier before we pick our winner. So I'm going to give everybody a chance one more time. If you just are joining us, type in hashtag embroidery to win. You're going to win our freestanding lace class kit. This was included in our Elevate Club box for everyone, whether you've got an embroidery machine or not. You got our freestanding lace class kit. And so here's a bonus one. So you're going to get one bonus class kit. So it's going to come with the same designs, but it's going to come with a little bit more of that water soluble material. You can give it away as a present if you don't actually have a machine or you don't need an extra one. I have a feeling though you're going to become like me and get excited about all the potentials of this freestanding lace stuff. So one question that came through, though, had to do with the grid and being able to use that quilts grid to create different types of blocks using your scrap. And so Melissa did share with me that she actually found her quilts grid on this website here called WIMS, Watercolor Quilt Kits. Such an inspiring page, guys. They have some amazing quilt kits on here. So they're giving away a free quilt grid with any purchase over $75. So that's just like a automatic win. But I did post a link to that quilt grid product information in the chat there. So if you want to learn more about that material, you can go ahead and jump in over there. Head over to that WIMS website. And so now it's time to pick a winner. We're picking a winner for our freestanding lace class kit. Again, this is a $10 value and it comes with one piece of that water soluble material. So let's go ahead and get started. So everybody has entered in their names. So let me get into my giveaway program here. And we're going to pick from our live. We're going to come on over here. All right, here we go. We've got 16 entries. And our winner is Jill. Congratulations, Jill. You are the lucky winner of our bonus freestanding lace class kit. So please go ahead and email us at info@SewSteady, and we will get that out to you right away. Again, thank you all for joining us today. We always love sharing these amazing classes with you, and we hope you're enjoying the Elevate Club box as much as we are. One of the things that we really love about it is that if you are a Club Box member, then you know that as you're watching this education every single week, almost every day, no, every week, we've got at least 2 to 3 classes every week. It's all tying back to that box that you have at your fingertips. So you're able to relevantly really dig in and get started if you get inspired. And, there's nothing worse than feeling like, oh, I have to go buy this and I have to go buy that. And I need to do all of these things to be able to dive in and really enjoy a project. So we hope you are enjoying that as much as we are sharing it, because I definitely think that being able to be inspired and be able to just jump right in really are kind of a bonus, and being able to do them together. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day. We'll look forward to hearing from you, Jill, and we'll look forward to hopefully having you all join us next week for more live education. And don't forget, if you're an Elevate Club member, we did get you all signed up on our So Study University, so you have access to all of those classes, and you're able to go ahead and dive in to enjoy your university classes all quarter long. And we'll look forward to hopefully, if you are not a member, then we did provide some information, but give us a call, send us an email, and we can help you get set up with one of our club stores near you so you can start enjoying our club education and getting all those tools at your fingertips too. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.